the real danger that we have in this is that people don't understand or don't go at the whole experience in terms of an academic exercise. It's not a volunteer exercise. It's not for a job. It's not a job interview or work experience situation or anything like that. If students can go in and they can take the theory, the concepts that they learn, and apply it, see them in action, including things like ethical concepts, then that will just benefit everybody. But not every student has the ability and the academic maturity or the personal maturity to be able to understand what is supposed to be accomplished by that type of a course or that type of a program. And that's where our job has to come in, where we have to really be able to articulate what those are.
Well, I think there needs to be freedom for instructors and curriculum designers to choose which courses are most amenable to community service learning and which courses are not. I don't think every course should be service learning. I can't imagine a student taking 5 courses at a time and they're all service learning courses. It's a different style of learning. You might want to think about the year in which the students are progressing through their degree. When's the best time? So no, I don't think every course should be a service learning course. I think that it needs to be a group of teachers that say, okay, I'd like to do this, let's design a course that can be service learning. Or an individual instructor takes a normal course and translates it into a service learning course because they, as teachers, bring that to the course. So, sometimes you have a course that's supposed to be service learning and it's supposed to stay that way, but more often service learning travels with an instructor or a group of instructors who have the vision for doing service learning within a particular course.
I think it needs to be promoted. I think there needs to be a real concentrated effort into really looking at what those benefits are, being able to articulate those benefits to the students and also to the community. And I think we need to be very focused on that. We need to actually figure out exactly what those are and communicate those really clearly to both the students and the community. In a standard academic format where we would just get up and we would lecture, we would give exams, we might mark papers and that sort of thing. Within the community learning, we have to be actively engaged in it. We have to deal with ethical issues that might come up. I think it vastly increases our workload. And I think if we get support for it on the front end, then certainly that would be the type of thing that isn't really within what we're supposed, our mandate as professors and instructors.
As an instructor, you're always trying to communicate to the students why something should be done and juggling that with the course content. So I'd say it's a challenge to integrate service with traditional learning. Another challenge is student time schedules. I try to become more and more sensitive about the ways in which class time should be used as much as possible for team meetings. That occasionally you're going to have a team meeting outside of class, but as much as possible, give some time during class for team meetings to take place. Otherwise, if you have a team of 4 or 5 people and they're busy students, when are they ever going to have time to meet?
I have had some students working with the community, and that's been quite limited because as a session instructor, I run into all sorts of barriers and obstacles in attempting to set that up for my students. The primary one would be that I don't have resources and backup and support in doing that.
Where you have a meaningful project that you need to get done for a community partner, but you're going, how can that fit within 3 months? So even the course project I'm doing right now, we have to think about what can rationally be done within 3 months, and then maybe tack on a phase 2 or a phase 3, depending on how long it takes to get to the level where the product is useful for the community partner. Because these are not professionals, right? They're students who are learning. So you can't always rely on a product at the end being instantly useful. You need to be able to have that freedom to do a project that might not quite work out, where you can do it in several phases perhaps, if that partnership can continue past the term of a course.
The one thing it has done for me is really underscore the need for us to think of the role of the professor as expanding that role so that we are actually connecting our students and what the students learn from us within the university environment to the actual community. And I think that that's a role that has not been emphasized enough for professors, to make that connection. We can't just say, well, our part is to teach the students, and then they can take what we help them to learn within the university environment and automatically figure out on their own how it fits into the larger context of the community. I think we have to be responsible for also making that direct connection right directly into the community.
The most important partnership is with the teacher, and to set up something before the term begins is ideal. When I first started community service learning, I had my students go out and find their own community partners, and sometimes those students had meetings outside of my knowledge, and they would receive guidance in a way that I had no clue what was going on. And I had a very difficult time grading the students' work because their conversation with the community partner happened outside of my knowledge, and the partner was not aware of the course goals. So I realized right away, okay, I need to be part of this three-way partnership, and it's more effective for a community partner and me to have a relationship before the course begins, to talk about the course goals, what do we want to accomplish, what's feasible, what's going to be meaningful for their organization. We have those conversations before the course begins, and then schedule dates when they could come to class or when the students would be with them. And so they're part of the scheduling process, part of understanding what it would take to be understanding of students' limitations in terms of time and expertise, and yet how do you bring them along to help them achieve the best product possible by the end of the term. So these kinds of negotiations take a lot of front-end work, and so planning, I'd say, sometimes I spend, with my own course planning, I spend extra time on top, having meetings with community partners, sending emails to them, sending them a draft of the course schedule, sending them drafts of the course outline, so that they're in the loop and they're considered. I like to consider my community partners part of my instructional team. That's if I have fewer than 2. I've taught some courses where I've had 8 community partners for a class of 30, and the liaison ends up being almost unmanageable for myself. I end up doing way too much volunteer work. So I'd say for a community partner, the best advice would be contact an instructor that might be open to this, or contact an administrator on campus and say, can you pass along this message to teachers who are interested in community service learning? And those relationships need to be established with teachers.
I think the problem usually becomes the typical problem, one of resources, financing, budgets, and so on and so forth. Again, I think there's a big disjoint between what would work and what would benefit the students, and how we're actually going to accomplish that. Who's going to do what? What sort of budget lines will be created for that type of thing. So I think that the university needs to bridge the gap, and I think there's a very large gap. I think most professors, I think administration, all the way down the line, people realize that students need this, want this, would benefit from it, the university would benefit from it, communities would benefit from it. The problem is that we have these big gaps that we need to bridge.